Hey everybody, it's Nancy Barrows, Nancy Deborah Barrows, the chick with dual belt here, and this is Connected Human Conversations. I'm going to start this like every good live streamer does when you have tech problems to find out, can you guys actually hear me? Because the music just stopped suddenly on my end. So I'm not sure you guys can hear me or if I'm glitchy or what's going on here. So if you just give me a little shout out in the comments, then I know that we can get started together here tonight. I see a lot of you out there already. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully you guys can hear me and we can have a really great conversation tonight. Let's see. All right. Well, hopefully you guys are hearing me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing you with us as always. It has been more than a hot minute since I have been live, much less by myself. And probably many of you don't even know about Connected Human Conversations since it's been that long. And Mike Peterano, I see you in the comments giving me props. And I will say that this wouldn't be happening without you. Way back when this show started, Michael Peterano and I did this together, and he held my hand until I was ready to do it on my own. So thank you to you, my friend. So why are we here? Well, as I said, I'm Nancy Deborah Barrows, the chick with the tool belt, and this is Connected Human Conversations. And for all the reasons I was telling myself I wasn't going to go live, for the reasons that I was still in my pajamas, that I hadn't showered, that my computer wasn't set up and my camera wasn't set up and I'm not ready and nobody's going to show up, there was one really important reason. And that was that September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And depression is often talked about as a silent killer, and I did not want to stay silent. So tonight I'm hoping that I can make someone feel a little less alone and maybe even make someone feel a little bit more comfortable with the topic of depression, feel a little bit more educated. I am not a doctor, and what I'm going to share is from my personal experience, and hopefully you guys will be sharing as well, because this is a conversation. This is about all of us entering into this brave space together where it is safe to be vulnerable and it is safe to be you, and you will receive the unconditional love and acceptance that you deserve for being you. So, depression. Well, many people know what they know about depression. I'm just going to go through a few things, a few symptoms, a few ways that I experience depression. So for me, depression isn't just about sadness. Depression is an illness. It is a chemical and physical change in our brain. It is not about how hard we try or how much we want it. For me, it is times of just being exhausted and not being able to do the things that I normally do. It is times of showing up and not feeling like I'm there. It is physical pain and migraines and pain in my body. It is thankfully not active suicidal ideation, but it is moments of thinking about not wanting to be alive. For me, it is all the ways that I will allow myself to tell myself I'm not normal, tell myself that I just need to push harder. For me, depression is sleep disturbances. It is a memory issue where I can't remember anything going on. And for me, it is a whole lot of other things. So those are all symptoms of depression that are somewhat common. People do know them, and I want to talk about them. And please, like I said, share in the comments anything that you want to share with us tonight. Thank you, Mike. I also wanted to share for people who are who know people who live with depression, who have the role of watching people really be in pain and suffer. And it's not easy, especially if you've never experienced depression, to understand what it's like to live with depression. And I'm hoping that I can shed a little light on that tonight with your help, and to help people understand all the ways they can show up for someone who's really struggling with their mood. So over the years, I have made lists of things that people can do because they have asked me, what can I do? How can I support you? And often I really just don't know. Thank you, Paul. I want to see that comment again, if you don't mind, Brian Schulman. I didn't get to read it. Thank you, friend. Thank you. So starting with, for people when you want to be able to show up, you're right on time, Dan. For people who know people with depression and you want to know how to show up, it's not the same for everybody. So for me, I just tell people that it's really helpful when I am not forgotten. It's easy when you're depressed and you retreat to think that the world has forgotten about you and that your brain can be a fantastic liar and convincing in its pursuit to have you feel that you don't matter, that no one will miss you, that people will be better off without you. And so for me, just knowing that people haven't given up on me, and what does that look like? It looks like an emoji. It looks like sending me something on Instagram, a cute cat picture. To me, it's please don't stop talking to me about your life. Just because I'm struggling with my mood doesn't mean that you need to tiptoe around the beautiful things happening in your life. In fact, for me, and I think a lot of people with depression, one of the things that helps us most is being able to be there for other people. It's hard to show up for ourselves often, but we can find purpose and some reprieve in showing up for others and celebrating with you. It, for me, is things like it's okay to talk about my depression. It's there and it's happening. And you don't have to know what to say. And it's okay to say just that. I don't know what to say. I'm afraid of saying the wrong thing. I don't know what to do here. We understand, those of us who live with depression, those of us who are on the other side, we know it's hard. We know that it's difficult to see someone struggle. It's difficult to worry about the words you use and how that might impact someone. So show up, be honest. It's okay not to know. And honestly, over the years, for me, it's been helpful for me to help educate people and help them understand what depression is and help them understand all the different ways that it shows up in my life and other people's lives. You know, we talk about being sad, and that happens to all of us. We have things that happen that disappoint us and make us sad, but depression is really much deeper than that. As for things that people can do, one of the things that that I have found helpful is letting people know things that actually are not helpful. There are a lot of things that are helpful, but here you are trying to help. And I can tell you things that for me, and I think for most people with depression, are really hard to hear and are really defeating. And it happens. It happens from people with the most beautiful, generous, well-meaning hearts. And it's things like saying, you know, come on, you can do this, push yourself. You know, if you really want it, if it's really important to you, you'll do it. You'll show up. You'll be there. And I'm here to tell you that if I wasn't pushing myself as hard as I am completely capable of, I wouldn't be here today. And that is true for so many of us who live with depression. It is not simply a battle of will. It is not something that we can just decide is going to be different and choose to be happy. There are a lot of things that we can do on our end to help lift our mood, help brighten our day, help our brain get into a better space. But it's certainly not just because I want it so badly. I have in my life wanted it so badly, so badly, to want to get out of bed in the morning. I don't know about other people, but I'll wake up on a day where I don't have to work and the alarm or without the alarm and the clock says something like 6:30, and the first thought in my head is that is a lot of hours to fill, a lot of hours to be in this darkness. And you know, those places of if I could just will myself through it, I would. And you're right, it is about being with people. It is uncomfortable to be with someone's pain. It is hard, especially because you can't always help in the ways that you are used to helping in, or in the ways that have in the past worked for this human that you love. You know, very often we show up and we want to fix it, and depression doesn't work like that. And it can be frustrating to loved ones. It can be something that causes them a lot of grief and shame that they can't help the people they love that are struggling because they're trying in the most well-meaning ways to help in the ways they always have. So again, if I can help someone feel less alone, or someone be there with someone in a way that's more comfortable and they can feel more confident, then this time is worth it. So again, it's not about fixing, it's about being. It's about listening. It's not necessarily even being able to say, I know what you're going through, or I've been there. I've been there too. A lot of times it's there, and excuse me, LinkedIn, to just say, this is shitty. This fucking sucks, but I'm right here with you. And I love, there's a meme out there about Eeyore and how he's clinically depressed, and yet his friends still invite him everywhere and they don't expect him to show up as anything other than he is. And I want to share that because for me, and I know for other people, you'll invite people who have depression, who are struggling, and we say no. And we even lie about having plans. I know I have. And we are afraid. I am afraid. One of the scariest things for me is that people will stop inviting, that people will stop trying, that people will give up. And so, as another tip for you, if you're out there and wanting to support someone who is living with depression, keep inviting them. Keep letting them know they're welcome. Keep letting them know they're welcome just as they are. And another great way is to meet them where they're at. And if that means in their pajamas on their couch, man, oh man, I have to tell you, there have been so many times. I am 50 years old and I experienced my first major depressive episode after confronting my grandfather about sexual abuse when I was 20. And there have been many episodes after that. And there have been so many times where I wish I knew how to reach out. I wish that I knew how to get myself to do that, that I didn't want to be alone, but I didn't want to be with anyone either. And someone has shown up just to sit, bring a book, watch a show, bring food, right? Just to be there. And that's certainly a huge thing. I have even had people send food to my doorstep just to make sure that I'm eating, and knowing that I don't want someone there necessarily with me, but I don't want to be alone. And yes, Maria, please reach out to people. You guys have seen me live before, and I say all the time, when someone's communication pattern changes, when they stop showing up, when they stop reaching out, please, please, please take a moment. Take a moment and ask. Take a moment and let them be seen, heard, loved, and valued, and let them know they're missed. And if you're out there living with depression, know that there are people who notice and that it does get better. I will remind you what I remind myself of is that you have made it through 100% of your worst days. And today is going to be no different. I want to say hello to everybody quickly in the comments, but first I want to say, if you're in the United States and your brain is lying to you and telling you that you do not matter, that no one will miss you, and that we're better off without you, it is not true. And I beg you to please dial 988 and be connected with a qualified counselor anonymously. Make that call first. If you are not here in the US, please call whatever agency or organization that's there to help. And if you need to, please go immediately to your local emergency room. I want to thank you all for being here. Brian Shulman, I see you. Thank you. I want to say that courage and bravery is something you cultivate. And I didn't start off brave and courageous. I started off scared and did it anyway. And how powerful we can be even when we are scared. And that you keep showing up and you begin to feel a little more brave and a little bit more courageous because others show up and remind you that you are. So thank you. Hi, Tim Sohn. It's so good to see you. Thank you for being here, dear friend. I so appreciate you showing up. Kate, my goodness. Thank you. Yes, you can make a huge difference. A huge difference. The smallest things can turn around someone's day, and you never know when it's that moment that they need to hear it. I have said to my own family members, do me a favor, put a reminder in your phone. It doesn't have to be organic that you're thinking about me. Honestly, in those moments, just send me something, anything. And I think that was Jackie. And Felipe, thank you for being here. Reach out, listen to people, ask in different ways. One of the things that doesn't get spoken about, Maria, yes, thank you. Educate yourself as much as you can. And again, talk to people who have depression. I am more than happy to share my experience and help people. Hi, Al. Thank you for being here. Aaron, you're always here to support. I do appreciate that. I know many of you are people who live with depression. And Maria, you're always with me in spirit. So many of you are. I feel that way. I haven't done this show in so long, and I knew that I could show up here, and that, hi, Patsy, I'm so glad you're here, that I could show up and that there would be people here to share the moment with me, and that there would be people who would find this and your comments when they needed to hear it. I see Damien, thank you. Brian Shulman, I can't do the comments if you would. And I just want to invite you all to share in the comments. If there's anything that you would like to share, this is a safe space. This is more than a safe space. It's a brave space where I have taken the step to show up and be vulnerable, and invite you to share this space with me so that you don't have to be vulnerable alone. Joe, everything you are saying about your brain tricking you into thinking you're alone is very true. I've dealt with I think it's depression in my family, and I appreciate you sharing story as it echoes to a lot of other people too. Thank you. I think if we're honest and we really listen and show up, we realize that we all have experience with depression. It is a pervasive illness. Thanks for being who you are today. Depression is reversible, just like a diabetic, as long as people recognize that state. That's the way to refine and get the light out of hope within the shadow of darkness. Glad that you make this topic for the community here. That is beautiful. Thank you. It is my selfish pleasure. It is my selfish pleasure, I must say. Paul, I'm here. Hello. Hi. Grateful here to support you. You are seen, heard, loved, and valued. Sending you big, burly hugs along with my brother, Aaron Gibson. Thank you. Thank you. I see Mike Peterano. We talked earlier. And I'm just going to say, you know my heart, and you know the journey that we started together that got me here alive tonight. Thank you. And I see Robert Berry there. Hey, everybody. And I see Amber. Thank you. Thank you for bringing you here and your heart here with us. Hey, everybody. I wanted to talk just a little bit before I go about functional depression, because I want to talk about functional depression because I think that I know there are so many people living with functional depression. And what does that look like? Well, to a lot of people on the outside, it doesn't look like much. It looks like someone showing up and smiling. It looks like someone going to work, someone going to the events, someone making dinner, someone doing everything that would look from the outside that they are doing just fine. And what functional depression is yes, you can do what you have to do, but it's at a cost. It's not that you're not experiencing depression. It's not that what you're feeling isn't real just because you can do some of those things. The depression that you experience with functional depression is just as real and just as debilitating. It's exhausting. It's so hard, all the energy it takes to show up to do those things when you're living with depression. It's brave. It's how the mask disappears the second you're not in public and no one's around. And so I want to say to everyone out there, start a conversation. This is my call to action. Talk about the show, send people here. If that's too hard to have the conversation in person, then please use this show, but have a conversation about depression. You'd be surprised how many people are there, willing, ready, and able to share what's really going on with them. It's a huge thing, and a huge gift to give to one another, because the more we talk about this, the more we bring it into the light, the less shame people have, and the more opportunities we have to save lives. Literally, the difference between life or death. Tomorrow is Suicide Prevention Awareness Day, and it's a day and a month, but we need to be having these conversations daily with one another. We need to be willing to be uncomfortable. We have to be willing to get it wrong. We have to be willing to learn. We have to be curious and non-judgmental and willing to show up in ways that maybe we haven't shown up before, or we're not really equipped to do in the beginning. Depression is something that so many people live with. but it also is something that there is treatment for, that there is hope that can change. And if you have tried one thing, try another. And if you tried another, try another. I'm going to be, hopefully, I'm making this commitment to everyone, trying to go live more regularly talking about depression, because I happen to, without people knowing, in the last year, been living with functional depression. And it had gotten to a point where I was wondering if I could continue to show up. And thankfully, I have never lived with true active suicidal ideation. Passive, yes, but it was more I didn't have the energy to do the things that I needed to do. I was losing the ability. What I had always been able to do was at least show up and do what I had to do. And I was losing that ability. And it came to a head, and I was talking to a mental health professional. I actually reached out to someone I hadn't worked with in a really long time, and felt pretty desperate. And she was on the other end. She was on the other end, and she heard me, and she understood. And we talked about, what I can do moving forward. And so there are actually I'm cautiously optimistic about some treatment options that are coming up for me. With my insurance approving it, hopefully this coming week, will be participating in an outpatient treatment program at UCLA, TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation. And it's a newer treatment for people like me who have tried medication repeatedly without relief, and who are looking for another option, who are not ready to give up. So I will keep you posted on that journey. If anyone has experience, please, 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 I am more than happy to hear about it. I saw some people share their own journeys, and I want to acknowledge that. I saw that, Brian Schulman, you said that you've been living with depression for the last year. And I know, as my dear friend, I have seen it. And I'm so proud of you for being so brave. You have been amazingly brave in sharing what's been going on with you and helping so many others. Aaron, I saw that you put up that you were, yes, therapy is the new day spa. You got it. And Aaron, that you put up some of your experiences of days of hiding behind sleep. My bed is my safe space. And what really sucks is when my sleep is disturbed so much by depression that it no longer is my place to escape. It doesn't work. There are so many different facets. You're correct, and they impact all of us differently. Showing up with a smile and feeling dead inside is not uncommon for people living with depression. Rob, I see that you're going through some really difficult times right now too, and I'm just going to send you light and love and remind you again, you've made it through 100% of your worst days. And there are people that care no matter what you're telling yourself, whatever your brain is trying to convince you. As people who live with depression, it's hard to think that anyone could say anything to you that's meaner or worse than you say to yourself. So for those of you that are afraid to ask and talk about depression with someone who is struggling, please don't hesitate. I know for me, being able to talk about it is really important. It helps normalize it. It helps take it out of my solo thinking process. It helps give me perspective. And ultimately, it usually helps me educate someone on depression. And the more of us that understand and know and show up empathetically, non-judgmentally to those dark spaces that people are hiding in, the more lives we're going to save. All right, you guys, I see it's been about a half an hour. I just want to make sure, Maria, family is important. It is a great source of strength. I think that people try all sorts of things, and I want to encourage you, if you are reaching out now and in the process of getting started, I know that it can be disheartening trying to find someone to talk to, but please don't give up. Please keep going, please, because while your brain will try to convince you that it won't get better and this is what it's always going to be, it does. It does. It does change. And I can't promise you every day is going to be perfect, but you deserve every day. You deserve to be here, and you are making a difference. You might not be able to see it, but you certainly are. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. This TMS journey, I'm really wanting to be excited about it. As soon as I get approval from insurance, then I will officially be excited about it. Um, Communication is a form of release. Exactly. You know, walking and talking to yourself out loud, bilateral stimulation of your brain, journaling. And we certainly want to have those connected human conversations that bring depression out of the darkness. There's family here for you on LinkedIn. Yes. Um, ah, I'm think I'm so grateful that you're allowing yourself that release. You guys, tears are. I have cried in ways that I didn't know. I've had sounds come out of me that I didn't recognize as being me when I have sobbed. But tears are okay. Tears are a release. Tears are human. So please, if you need to cry, cry. And I promise you, and I can give you a 100% guarantee that the tears will stop. No matter how much it feels like they won't, they will. It won't last forever. Maria, I have to say I'm disappointed in our mental health system as well. I recently reached out to my insurance, which I'm grateful to have some mental health coverage, and had to go through 200 names to find 3 people to call, none of which, although they were listed as accepting new patients with my insurance, were. And I think about people who don't have the support and the prior experience I do running into that kind of roadblock to getting better when they are able to reach out. I just appreciate you all for showing up tonight. I appreciate you for allowing me this space and this opportunity. I come and I share my experiences not to focus on me, but to make sure people know they're not alone, and make sure that the people who help support people with depression are incredibly powerful and integral to how we move through the world. Seeking therapy is the smartest and bravest action someone can take to take care of themselves. It might take time to find the right therapist, but it's worth it. Agreed, insurance in America needs to improve it when it comes to mental health. It's reason I'm here tonight. Like I said, there were 100 reasons I gave myself why I couldn't show up. And the most important one was all of you. Yes, right. Waiting on waiting list. And then therapists moving on. It is, again, LinkedIn, I apologize. Navigating the mental health system is a shitty process at best. And when you are trying to do it, when you are coming from a place of need, where you really need the help, and you are gathering yourself and your energy and your, gosh, I don't even know, is this piece inside of you that you forgot about to just make a call and leave a message. For that to not be met with some success is very disheartening. And I know it puts a lot of people off from getting help. If you are just joining us, I'm Nancy Deborah Barrows. I am the chick with the tool belt, and this is Connected Human Conversations. And if your brain is lying to you and telling you that you don't matter, that no one will miss you, or that we're better off without you, please, if you're in the United States, pick up the phone and dial 988 to be anonymously connected with a qualified counselor. If you are not in the United States, please call whatever agency or organization is available to you. And if you don't know who or where that is or have a number, please go to your nearest emergency room. You deserve to be here. You do matter, and people do care. I so appreciate you. My situation is different because I have medical issues that won't be resolved. Sometimes I feel there's no way out, so why wait? That's a daily struggle. So thank you for being who you are. Good luck with UCLA. Thank you. I support you. My LinkedIn user, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly who it is, but I will find out. And yes, I'll be back and we'll talk about the comorbid things that exist with depression. And sometimes, you know, we have other things that aren't going to go away, and learning to live with them and learning to live fully and thrive and joyously with them can be very challenging. Mike on Suicide Watch for daily for 3 months with a 10-year-old at the time. The system failed him, but tremendously grateful that you made the priority. And like I said, the people who support us, the people who show up, you guys literally are our life jackets. And you showing up for your son, right? Making sure you advocated for him. The people, friends and family who have shown up for me, people who have, like I said, brought me food, the people who have made the calls to the therapist because I can't. Everything you do as someone who's supporting someone on a mental health journey gives them a minute more to breathe. And if that's not a huge gift, I don't know what is. Hopefully, I have seen all of your comments and said hello to everyone. Please, when we are done here, text someone, call someone, send them a message or a meme. Please feel free to tag anyone in the comments you think would benefit from hearing this conversation. Thank you for the love and the grace and the support. We got this together. Again, if your brain is lying to you and you are in the United States, please pick up that phone and dial 988 wherever you are. If your brain is lying to you, please go to your nearest emergency room. You matter. People do care. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. I hope to be back with you soon and to continue these really important connected human conversations, because our silence is killing one another, quite literally. Thank you all. I so appreciate and love you. Have a wonderful rest of your night, and go make someone's day by making them feel seen, heard, loved, and valued. Good night.